Most businesses struggle to produce enough consistent's the key word there, consistent content to fuel all of their marketing needs. Today, we are going to flip that script, and we're going to talk about how one video podcast becomes the foundation for a whole content marketing system. I think you're going to want to watch. Stay tuned. I want to thank you for tuning in this week. We've got a ton to cover, so I'm going to dive right into it. So first thing, how is the podcast the core of this? So, really the video podcast in this is what builds that connection with your customers. It builds that SEO for you, and it gives you that reach potential. It gives you that way to go out and reach people. So that is the biggest part of it. And in this, that's why we have the video component here with it, because if it was just an audio podcast, we wouldn't have nearly the leverage to work with. Now, there are ways that we can leverage just audio only for some other items, but we'll get into those a little bit later. With this, we want to make sure that you're going to focus on quality, because that is what's going to give us the pieces that we can use later. It's not just churning out episodes. How much can I post? How often can I post? That is the exact way to go nowhere. We want to make sure that you are getting the right audio, getting the interesting audio. Spend that time up front to make sure that we're working on interesting subjects and making sure that you're working on, like if you have a guest, working on getting those interesting answers. There is a craft to that. We can help you with that, but there is a craft to that, and we want to make sure that we work with you on that, because it is getting that quality. That quality, once again, that is the key to making sure that we get the content that we want later, because we're going to call this the content extraction phase. Now, sure, when you do the podcast, you're building one big piece of content. You're building a long form content, something that someone can sit down, they can watch for a while, they can really dive into and get into. They can get absorbed in that. We've all been there. You sit down, you think, I'll watch a minute or two of this video. 10 or 15 minutes later, you're like, wow, I made it through the whole thing. That is what we want to help you do, is make sure that you can get people through the whole thing. In that process, what you're going to do is you're going to be creating a ton of great snippets of content. And that's where that content extraction that we talked about, that's where that's going to come in. So in this, we're going to talk about that content extraction, right? How do we go in and just, we're going to pull those pieces of content out of there, right? We're going to do that. You don't need to do that. So that's what we're going to take care of. So picture your podcast kind of like a hub of a bicycle wheels with spokes. So you've got this full assembly here, but each one of those spokes is valuable. It does a job, and it's got a piece to it. That's what we're going to use with the content extraction. So when we go in, we're going to pull some of those pieces out. We're going to end up with those short, punchy clips. Let's say it's a juicy moment, for lack of a better term. There's a shocking reveal, or there's just an expert answer. Someone's going to say something that just really hits home. Those are all those things that we want to make sure are captured, hence why we went back to that quality. We're going to talk about each one of those moments in there, and we're going to pull those moments out. That way we can use those moments as separate pieces of content. Now we've got something from that larger podcast. Yes, you are going to get people to watch the larger podcast, but we can take those other chunks of content and break those out and now give you things that you can release over a period of days and or weeks. You can spread those little pieces out. And the great part about them is, like I said, they're short, they're punchy. These are things that are really to the point. This is that saying that really hits home with someone. We've all been there. We've all seen those things where we're scrolling along. It stops you in your tracks because it grabs you. It's really pointed. It's just right there in your face. Those are the things that we're going to go through your podcast and we're going to look for. We're going to find those clips, those golden moments, to pull those out. So that way, now we've got this long form content and we've got these clips that we can release day after day after day to make sure that you are staying connected with your audience. Now in this is going to go back to what I said in the very beginning there about how this helps with SEO. This hugely helps with reach potential, because if you're constantly out there, no one has time to constantly make content. So if we just take an hour and make content that we can release over the period of a month, now you're constantly in front of people and they see that you're putting in that effort to do that. On top of that, if someone sees you every day, here's something else that we talked about before. You're building that connection. It is that connection that you're building. They see you every day. They know you. You're suddenly like a coworker to them. That could be good or bad, taking on how their coworkers are. But I think you get what I mean. It's just they have built that trust in you because of the fact you are there for them every day. Now, another piece to that content extraction that we're going to talk about. We're going to transcribe your conversation, whether it's you sitting across the table for someone, whether it's you having someone coming in remotely, we are going to transcribe that. And in that transcription, there's going to be some really good information. That's why you're doing this, right? Well, let's put that out as a blog. Let's assist you in writing that as a blog. Let's get that. So now that can go as text. SEO is still largely text-based. Search engines, they look for text. They're out there trying to find that type of stuff. So if we can put the text out there of what's going on and what you're talking about, it just makes sense. Once again, you're going to draw in those bigger visitors, those more visitors. And it's the people that are looking for the right information with you. You're going to have that information out there. Now, there's one more piece to that we really want to talk about in this, and that is if you're having a guest. Now, I've got a ton of clips out here about how to engage with guests and the advantages with guests. And we're just going to, a brief review in that is if you interview someone, you've now got all these short clips and you've invited an expert, because let's face it, you're not going to invite someone in that doesn't know what they're talking about. So you've invited an expert in, and more than likely they've got at least somewhat of a social media following. You're going to encourage them to share these clips. You're going to, we set up with a number of our clients a program to make sure that the clips that they use with someone else or that they create with someone else get shared. We want access to that audience. And so now we're going to get that access to that audience. You can do the same thing with the clips. You can do the same thing with the blog, and you can do the same thing with a podcast. You've got tons and tons of chances to reach out and work with someone else's audience. And to me, that is huge. You guys have all heard me say, the best way to grow your audience is to use someone else's. And especially if you are willing to invite someone in onto your podcast, you've got something in common with them. And algorithms, that's all they look for is commonality. So now there's some commonality between you and the person sitting across the table from you. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some commonality in your audiences. So now you're going to be able to grab parts of that audience and bring them in and make them as your own audience. What a huge benefit in that. So with this, there's a twist to how all of this is done, because you can't just come in, sit down and talk and expect this to go out everywhere and just be a raving success. That's not going to happen. We talked about quality before, and this is where another piece of the quality equation comes in, because you need to cater to different platforms. Depending on where your audience is, you want to make sure you're talking to them. If you've got a younger audience that just mainly likes to be entertained, well, then TikTok is the place where you need to be. Are you trying to educate people? Well, then you need to make sure that you are working towards that YouTube audience. It's making sure that you are doing the things that go towards your audience. Now, in this, just because we said we're going for a younger audience, or let's say we're going for a younger audience, are you going to eliminate posting to Facebook or Instagram or any of those others? Not at all. You can still post to those platforms. Realize you're not going to gain the traction that you would, but make sure that you put this and gear this towards your audience. It's making sure that you are reaching the right people. I say this to so many people that we consult with. If you are marketing to everyone, if you are speaking to everyone, you are speaking to no one, because no one's going to make that connection. You have to make sure that you are looking to speak directly to someone. And when you do that, you've made that connection and they're going to come along for the ride. Too many people worry that they're like, hey, if I niche in, I'm missing out on all these other people. The problem is if you don't niche in, you're missing out on everyone because no one really cares. It's making sure that you're talking to those right people with that. The other thing I'm going to say is we want to look at repurposing with intent. It's making sure that the clips that you are going to use, you are going to post, or we can post them for you. It's making sure that those clips are posted with intent. It's not just random posting, or it's not just posting for the sake of posting. We need consistency. I've said that time and time again. But in that consistency, it's gotta be quality, because if you miss on quality, people are just gonna go away and not come back. How do we know what quality is and who's paying attention? This is where the analytics come in. And this is where you wanna pay attention to those and spend the time on them. Once again, we can work with you on these as the audience develops. But you need to look at what performs well and what platforms are performing well. And then at that point, double down on that. If you're really, let's say you've aimed for a younger audience and you're starting to gain traction on TikTok, but you notice the videos you've got one or two videos that have a theme to them, and those are the ones that really go, then those are the ones that we need to try and stick with. It's finding that niche. The audience will help tell you, they will help guide you where to go, and you need to listen to them. The way you listen to those is through those analytics. Easy to read, easy to see. We can start to help guide you through that process on those. So we've covered, a lot of stuff, and it might seem like a lot of things that you have to worry about here. We work with you to break these down into steps, and we guide you through that process to make sure that you are headed in the right direction with each episode. In this, it also gets easier with each episode. The first time you sit down, it is tough. If you listen to any podcaster, if you listen to anyone that creates any content at all, it doesn't need to be a podcast. It could be a video person. It could be someone that, plays piano. Their first couple of times of doing that, they go back and listen to it and they say, it is painful to listen to. And I get that. The biggest thing is you're never going to get better if you don't start. So let's get that started for you. In this, we have a system that we help guide you through. We've worked with tons of people on this. So we make sure that you're within that system, because that's going to help to create the consistency that you need in order to keep moving forward. Because that is the biggest thing. We're doing this to move forward, right? You and your business. That is the biggest thing. The last thing that I want to say about that, to kind of round this all together, is that results take time. We get a lot of people that say, hey, I want to go viral. And I always say COVID went viral also, and it wasn't necessarily a good thing. You're not going to be able to control like going viral, so to say, or anything like that. What you need to build is consistent effort over time and a consistent content library. That is what will draw people in, because as you build these clips out, as you build this library of content out, people are going to come back and find it. Someone in a year is going to see the video that you did right now. They will see it a year from now and be like, oh, that really hit home for me. So it's looking at those types of things. It's getting that content. It's building those things up. Those are going to be the biggest things. All that being said, if you want more tips and tricks, by all means, hit the website in the link below. That will sign you up for our newsletter. Typically, every couple of weeks, we send out something. We don't want to be spammy. We want to make sure that we're delivering quality items for you. So make sure you sign up for that email list. By all means, also, let's talk about this. Let's get the podcast started for you here really, really soon, like today. Give us a call, shoot us an email, or just hit the contact form online. With all that being said, we're going to have another video for you next week. If you have any suggestions, I would love to hear what your suggestions are. Put them in the comments below. As always, I will see you soon.